The turquoise waters near Pagasa Island, home to many Filipinos, should have been calm, a place where children play on the shore and fishermen cast their nets at dawn, hoping for a good catch. For generations, these waters have been a lifeline, a source of food, and a symbol of peace for the island's residents. But on October 12, 2025, that sense of security was shattered. Tension filled the air as the BRP Datu Pagbuaya, a Philippine Navy ship on a routine mission to safeguard its people and territory, suddenly faced a looming threat on the horizon. A massive China Coast Guard ship closed in, its imposing hull dwarfing the Philippine vessel. Without warning, it unleashed a high-pressure water cannon, drenching the deck and crew just 1.7 nautical miles from Philippine shores, well within the country's territorial waters. This was no distant dispute. This was a direct assault within the country's territorial sea, a brazen act that left no room for doubt about the intentions behind it. For the Filipino crew and local fisherfolk, it was a terrifying show of force in their own backyard. The sound of the water cannon echoed across the waves, a chilling reminder of how quickly peace can turn to chaos. The incident marked a dangerous escalation, crossing a new line by targeting a populated island, where families live, children go to school, and daily life unfolds just steps from the sea. It signaled Beijing's growing disregard for international norms and willingness to use force to assert unlawful claims, ignoring the rules that have kept these waters relatively peaceful for decades. The sea, once a source of livelihood and pride, now felt perilous for Filipino fishermen. Many wondered if it was still safe to venture out, or if their way of life was slipping away with each new confrontation. The confrontation was a stark reminder that geopolitical struggles have immediate, real consequences for ordinary people. Families glued to the news, children asking if their fathers will return safely from the sea. It left the nation asking, how do you stand up to a giant, determined to rewrite the rules, one aggressive act at a time? The answer is not simple, but the question now echoes across the archipelago. The answer would shape the Philippines' next move, as leaders weighed their options and ordinary citizens braced for what might come next. China's aggression isn't limited to water cannons. Beijing employs gray zone tactics, actions just short of war, to intimidate and assert control. Its three-pronged force includes the Navy, Coast Guard, and a shadowy maritime militia disguised as fishing boats. These swarms block, harass, and occupy, creating a constant threat that's hard to counter without risking escalation. China now plants buoys in Philippine waters and flies fighter jets overhead, marking territory and sending a message of dominance. In August 2025, a Chinese destroyer dangerously intercepted a Philippine patrol, even colliding with a Coast Guard cutter. Using warships for law enforcement blurs lines and raises the stakes, making every mission a gamble for the Philippines. This relentless pressure is designed to wear down resolve, China's way of winning without firing a shot. It's a slow, creeping invasion, one buoy and one dangerous maneuver at a time. China's campaign isn't just at sea, it's a war of information too. Through lawfare, Beijing uses legal-sounding language and outright falsehoods to justify its actions and confuse the public. Disinformation floods social media, eroding trust in the Philippine government and undermining the 2016 arbitral award. China reframes its actions, even claiming environmental stewardship while ignoring its own destruction of marine life. The goals sow confusion, weaken resistance, and cloak legal occupation in the language of global good. It's psychological warfare, making conquest easier and less costly. The Philippines refuses to back down, standing firm in the face of mounting pressure and intimidation in the South China Sea. Under President Marcos Jr., Manila has adopted a bold transparency strategy, publicizing China's aggressive acts with photos, videos, and detailed reports. This approach is designed not only to inform the Filipino public but also to rally international support and draw global attention to the ongoing maritime disputes. By sharing real-time evidence, the Philippines counters Beijing's disinformation with undeniable proof, ensuring the world sees the truth. These images and videos circulate widely, making it harder for China to deny its actions or rewrite the narrative. Diplomacy remains key. Over the years, the Philippines has filed hundreds of formal protests, creating a clear legal record of its objections. Each protest is a statement of resistance, a reminder that the country will not be silent. These protests reinforce sovereign rights and prevent silence from being mistaken as consent. they also serve as a warning to others that the Philippines is vigilant and determined to defend its territory. Meanwhile, the Coast Guard has expanded dramatically, and the Navy is modernizing to build a credible deterrent. New ships, advanced technology, and rigorous training are all part of a broader effort to strengthen maritime security. Yet, a debate rages. Should the Philippines stick to civilian vessels or start using Navy ships to signal firmer resolve? Some argue for caution, while others push for a stronger show of force. The nation is searching for the right balance, defending its interests. Without provoking a conflict, it cannot win. Every decision is weighed carefully, knowing the risks and the stakes involved. The strategy is clear: shine a light, stand on law, and strengthen defenses. It is a careful blend of transparency, legal action, and military readiness. The stakes have never been higher. The world is watching, and the Philippines is determined to be seen and heard on the global stage. At the heart of the conflict is the 2016 Arbitral Award. An international tribunal under UNCLOS ruled in favor of the Philippines, invalidating China's sweeping 9-line claim. The award affirmed the Philippines' exclusive rights to resources in its EEZ and condemned China's interference in island building. Despite the ruling's clarity, China rejected and ignored it, continuing its aggressive activities. UNCLOS, which China signed, is the constitution for the oceans. Beijing's defiance undermines the rules-based order. For Manila, the award is a powerful shield, providing legal and diplomatic leverage. Every protest and patrol is backed by international law, not just politics. This legal high ground allows the Philippines to rally global support and frame China as a lawbreaker. The U.S.-Philippines alliance is now in sharp focus, drawing global attention as tensions rise in the South China Sea. This partnership, forged over decades, is being tested like never before. Bound by a mutual defense treaty since 1951, the U.S. has made it clear that any armed attack on Philippine vessels or forces in the South China Sea will trigger its commitment to defend its ally. This treaty, a cornerstone of regional security, has shaped the strategic landscape for generations. After the Pagasa Island incident, Washington quickly reaffirmed its stance, sending a strong signal to both allies and rivals. This response served as a powerful deterrent to China, reminding all parties that the U.S. stands ready to uphold its promises. This ironclad promise gives Manila the confidence to resist coercion, knowing it's not alone. Joint military exercises and regular consultations further strengthen this sense of security, building trust between the two nations. The U.S. Navy's freedom of navigation operations challenge China's illegal claims and uphold international law, ensuring that vital sea lanes remain open for all nations. These operations are a visible demonstration of commitment to a rules-based order. Yet, the alliance is complex. Manila must balance its security ties with the U.S. against deep economic ties with China. Trade, investment, and the livelihoods of millions depend on stable relations with both superpowers. The goal is clear: use the alliance to create a stable environment, not provoke conflict. Diplomacy, dialogue, and cooperation are essential to prevent escalation and maintain peace in the region. The U.S. presence acts as a crucial balancing force, preventing China from imposing its will by sheer power. This balance helps smaller nations assert their rights and maintain their independence. For the Philippines, the alliance is both shield and leverage, a way to protect its sovereignty and negotiate from a position of strength. It's a delicate dance, asserting sovereignty without being drawn into a great power rivalry, and making choices that serve the nation's long-term interests. The stakes are high: regional stability, the freedom of the seas, and the future of international norms in Asia are all on the line. The world is watching closely to see how this alliance shapes the future, and whether it can maintain peace in a rapidly changing region. The message is unmistakable: aggression will not go unanswered, and the alliance stands as a pillar of strength in uncertain times. China's aggression is driven by both ambition and anxiety. Externally, Beijing wants to dominate the South China Sea, a vital trade artery and resource hub. By pressing its 9-line, China seeks to turn international waters into a Chinese lake, securing resources and a strategic buffer. The Philippines, a vocal democracy with U.S. ties, is a prime target for intimidation. Internally, political turmoil and leadership purges push Xi Jinping to project strength abroad, distracting from domestic instability. This volatile mix of long-term ambition and short-term pressure fuels escalation. Each aggressive act is both a claim to power and a signal to rivals, inside and outside China. China's actions follow a familiar playbook: salami slicing, or incremental encroachment. Mischief Reef began as a fisherman's shelter in 1995. Today, it's a fortified military base deep in the Philippine EEZ. At Scarborough Shoal in 2012, China broke a withdrawal deal, seizing control and blocking Filipino fishermen ever since. These incidents taught Manila that China negotiates in bad faith and acts with calculated patience. Today's harassment, water cannons, militia swarms, and blockades are the next steps in a long-term campaign. Each move is part of a strategy to displace the Philippines and other claimants from their own waters. The lesson: China's promises and justifications can't be taken at face value. Understanding this pattern is key to resisting further encroachment. The struggle is not just about territory, it's about stopping a slow-motion takeover. History warns: what's lost by inches is rarely regained. The West Philippine Sea dispute is more than a regional quarrel, it's a test of the global order. At stake is the principle that all nations, big or small, are bound by the same laws. China's defiance of the 2016 ruling threatens to unravel the rules that keep the world's oceans open and peaceful. If might makes right, other powers may follow suit, endangering global stability. The South China Sea is a lifeline for global trade. Instability here risks supply chains and economic security worldwide. The Philippines' stand is a frontline defense of international law and fairness. The world must remain vigilant, united, and committed to peaceful solutions. The outcome will shape whether the seas are ruled by law or by force.